All right, and we are live at the moment. Not exactly sure who all is in the show at the moment. But if this is your first time, my name's Grant Tommy, and my channel is Straight Six Fan, but I'm only partial of the title, the CarrGuy SixFan show. And so it is my pleasure to send it over to one of the newest members of the 1,000 subscriber club. But I will let him do the talking and tell you who he is.
Thanks, Grant. Yeah, my name is Jason, and my listen to me, I'm talking fame already. My YouTube channel is Olde Carr Auto Guy, and we talk about the daily runnings of my small town Canadian used car dealership, some of the projects that we do, as well as some shenanigans. If you follow my channel, you just seen one of those shenanigan videos pop up on Monday. So yeah, welcome everybody. I didn't think we were going to have much of a crowd here tonight because I think Terry was the first person in the chat when we went live, and then all of a sudden, everybody jumped in here. We're up to 11. If you guys haven't on your way in the door, please hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that we all know that you're here.
Well, and that's a great reminder for everybody, since there are 10 of you in here. Our record on this show is 30 people in this episode, and because it is a celebratory episode, we are going to go a little bit longer tonight. We plan on going 45 minutes, so now is the time to go ahead and copy that link, hit the share button, send it out through your social media, and let's see if we can't beat 30 people in here at one time. So I think it's warranted, given what half of the show has gone through in the past week. But I get a little ahead of myself. Yeah.
Well, listen, before we go into that, I did my 1,000 subscriber video that went up last night, and if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to go check that out. And my biggest praise, other than the man upstairs, to the success of this channel, I truly believe, is Grant. It was his idea to do this live stream and to put this together for all of you guys as well. And so far, I believe this live stream really has been the biggest catalyst on the growth of our two channels and of the people who come in here and be a part of this channel. So before we do anything, I want to hold my little Oscar here, and I want to say thank you to all of you guys for helping me get there. First, I might add, helping me get there. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jason. I mean, that's there's some kind words, but I mean, really, I've been dwelling on it quite a bit, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit jealous. But no, thanks for the kind words. But I did also want to say that you've been a real inspiration with, your hustle and your drive, and yeah, yes, the biggest jump you've had, and I know we'll get into this, has been the last 72 hours or whatever it's been since Monday with Nick's Garage. But what you have to remember is that Jason put in 7 hours of driving to get there.
One way.
Yeah. So it's not as though a lot of people, I think, would look at that and say, oh yeah, well, he just got lucky because he got shouted out by this big channel. But no, Jason put in the legwork to there was a ton of effort to make that happen. So you definitely paid 14 hours of a price at the very least. Not to mention all the other stuff that went on when you're there. So I want to commend you for that, and all of you've had some really creative ideas along the way outside of this show. So you've certainly earned every subscriber you've picked up since the New Year's.
And again, I really appreciate it. And as we kind of roll into the show here, before we get going too far, we've got a lot of people in here, and we want to acknowledge everybody that comes into the show. There's 14 people watching. We've only got 12 likes, 12 thumbs up. But the very first person in the room besides myself was Terry Eford Garage. We've got One Man Shop, Winnipeg Car Life. Hey Shane, how's it going? Car Mod Garage, Get It Garage, Impact Garage and Gaming. We've got Fairmont Craze. That must be one of your buddies, Grant. We've got America Bumper to Bumper. Kip is in the room. Uzolu Garage, Rust Belt Mechanic, Novataz, We've also, I think I saw JRC in there somewhere as well. JRC 54. We've got Craven Cars and Client Graphics. Captain Ron, welcome to the group. Captain Ron, this is his first time here, I believe. JRC as well. Who else do we got down there? Grant, you see anybody that I'm missing? Grant looks like he might be lagged out a little bit.
Yeah, we're experiencing some slowdown here from something. I don't have a, but I think we're back.
All right, so we'll carry on here. We've got Lowlid X50 is in the house. Doug Sweener, welcome, Doug. Thank you for stopping in. S&R Motoring and JC Smith Projects is here. So, guys, we've got a full house in here tonight. I don't know what the number count is right now because I can't see it. 19. So make sure you hit that share button too and get the word out. Share it with all your friends and all your fellow YouTubers that might be interested in jumping in on this chat.
All right. So for those of you who might be new to this show, we've been doing it now for 9 episodes, but we always like to throw in a little automotive talk. And today, the topic is one that Jason picked out, and I'll kind of let him set it up, and we'll kind of go from there and munch on that for a bit.
Well, everybody seems to be in the Corvette craze right now and waiting on this new C8 mid-engine Corvette. Well, the latest news to come out this week is that self-admittedly and reportedly, Chevrolet is saying that the Corvette is making too much power. And what they're experiencing is in some of their higher end models that with the twin turbo engine, that it's creating so much torque, the structure doesn't seem to be rigid enough to handle it, and the back glass is breaking out of some of these test cars. So I just wanted to open up the chat and Grant a little bit to see what you guys thought about a self-professed too much power car.
Well, when Dodge's was it the Red Eye Demon or whatever, there was the Hellcat, and then there's whatever that next step was. Their whole advertising campaign was they got kicked out of the drag strip because they didn't have a cage. When you run faster than I think 1099 and up, and they ran like an 8 or something. I think this is just kind of a response to this ridiculous era in which we live now. But it also reminds me, there was a YouTube video a number of years ago. Someone souped up a Cadillac CTSV or something like that, and it launched so hard that it set off the airbag sensors, and it OnStar was notified at the drag strip from this launch. So your conversation of it busting the back window, it kind of just reminds me of all that.
Yeah, and there's some of the guys in the chat are talking about it too. And let's see here. VW Pate is in the house. Welcome. And he says the damn things are made out of fiberglass. Well, of course, like that's part of the problem that when you have a car that's light, generally speaking, the rigidity of a Corvette has always been very strong, especially in the C5 through C7s. And by the sounds of things, they haven't carried that on, or maybe they simply are making too much power for the structure. Eford says they have 1,000 horsepower option, and I can see it considering that they don't have a roll cage or anything. So yeah, I mean the whole unibody structure is built around that halo like it was in the C5 to C7s, but as far as an actual rigid structure of a roll cage, no, they don't have one.
Well, with that, we after this like to kind of give a little bit of a channel update. And so it from what I understand, Jason, something big happened. Oh gosh, that didn't work the way I so we'll stop that.
Surprise.
There was a technology fail about a house of mirrors, but tell us a little about what's happened in the last week for you, Jason.
Oh, just somebody hit 1,000 subscribers, but no, that is the big news for my channel this week is that with Nick's Garage, video coming out on Monday, the old subscriber count just started going, and it really, I don't think it has really stopped. It slowed down for sure, but when that video came out, it really brought me up into reach of Grant for starters, because by midday on Monday, I think I had reached his subscriber count, and by the end of the day, we were pretty darn close. And then uh, what happened was the other night when I reached 1,000 subscribers, I think I went to bed with 103, and I woke up with 998. So I'm sure that that was a YouTube glitch in there somewhere, because today I'm back up to 1,008. So it just seems to be YouTube's glitch with some of these new changes that they're making. And anyways, I'm very happy to be there. I got my congratulatory welcome from YouTube on 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty stoked about that. And I'm just looking forward now to building the 4K watch time. And yes, JRC, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm at about roughly probably almost 2,700. So I've got a little ways to go, but with 1,000 subscribers, that's going to build a lot quicker now, hopefully, with more people watching the videos. So thanks again.
Well, I did have some applause lined up for Jason, but I'm afraid I'm going to create a really bad feedback on everybody else's end. So we will hold that. Didn't have enough time to really test drive that and get the kinks worked out there. But yeah, and I was looking. I thought I had written down on my notes somewhere where both you and I, Jason, were when we started our first episode, because I think on Sunday night you were at the same spot I was when we started this. So it has taken me, however that is, 9 weeks to still not hit the 1,000, and you did it in like 48 hours or less there. But no, on my end, channel update, honestly, that's one of the few things in the agenda that I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about filling out. But it has been, for me, last week, it was more than a week ago, but I was pumping out sticker swaps really hard. And just what went up today was, I mentioned him a couple episodes back, but Idle Garage did a kind of cool, instead of just doing a simple shout out video, he kind of turned that into, I think he's calling it the Straight SixFan Challenge or something. But the trick is if you watch the video, I'm now supposed to he made like his own like a garage hack tool, kind of a thing. And so now I'm supposed to come up with my own, make my own tool now as the next person. So I thought that was really creative. I think that'll be pretty cool. So, but as of today, I think because of that video, picked up close to 4 subscribers, which is pretty cool. But I noticed in the chat there's a bunch of people kind of checking each other out, and that's of course one of the other benefits and one of the other things we hope to offer on this CarrGuy and SixFan show. So guys, again, if you see anybody in the chat, you're not subscribed to them, definitely at the very least go check them out, and maybe you'll find a new channel and kind of some mutual interests there.
And I see Mick Bowers has joined us from the UK. Hey Mick, thanks for popping in. It must be early in the morning over there for you guys. And we're right now, guys, I saw the chat room pick up to 27 watching. We're down to 26. So if you haven't done it yet, hit your share button, share it with all your YouTube friends or Twitter or whoever. You can get it out there too, and see if we can't get this channel over the 30 watching now goal. We're trying to beat that. So also, if you haven't hit that thumbs up, please do so now.
And also, it looks like you need to tell Gary there in the chat to put some pants on, everybody. Gary being Mr. Mach 1. So we don't condone it, but we also don't not big fans of that here on the CarrGuy and SixFan show. We say pants at least. So no, yeah. But so Jason, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. We talked some what about the 7-hour drive to get to Nick's garage, and obviously there was more to just going to visit Nick. There was your picking up the J heads. We talked about that last week's show, but next on the docket, we always like to kind of talk about YouTube growth hacks and or small creator struggles. And I recently went through a struggle within the. If you saw my second to last upload, when I went to the swap meet down in Wichita, found some real lessons learned. But I think because we have 45 minutes, I kind of have two growth hacks slash small YouTuber struggles to talk about. So I'll start with my lessons learned, and then Jason, I'll let you kind of throw yours out there, and if there's time, I'll maybe touch on my second one because it'll be a lot shorter. But I have been wanting to do a sort of documentary style feature on somebody for a long time, and I thought that Nobody's Auto or Chad Ehrlich was going to be like that perfect first one, and I've always wanted to go shoot his yard. That was one of my goals for the year here on YouTube. And what I realized what happened was when I got the opportune moment to get him one-on-one to kind of tell him what I wanted to do and ask for that opportunity, he then of course said yes. But I got so flustered and I was kind of really excited about the opportunity and doing what I was doing that in the process, if you watch the video, I accidentally messed up some autofocus setting, not both on my camera, but also on the lens. I think I had flicked it by accident to manual focus, but also, what I realized is, guys, since we sometimes only get these opportunities once, do yourself a favor and make some sort of preventative like checklist or thing so when you get in that frenzy and you can't think straight, keep your thoughts straight like I should have. I needed some kind of way to catch myself. And now it's not like I blew the opportunity. I mean, the interview I thought still was great. Got a lot of good, thankfully for good audio, because there's still a lot to take out of it. But I could have done so many things better with that opportunity. And, sometimes, even though I will probably get a second chance, sometimes you don't get that second chance. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as my my initial small YouTuber struggle. Don't be like me. Help protect yourself. But Jason, what would you like to kind of add for your weekly tidbit?
Well, this is kind of a twofold, same idea. I'm going to throw it out there is that if you guys aren't involved in some of the growth and struggle solving challenges, channels like Pusa Studios and Creator Fundamentals, I encourage you to go watch some of their live streams because they have some really good information about how to organize your homepage, your about page, your playlists, all that sort of thing. And I've been following Pusa Studios a lot lately. And one of the things that I have learned this week that I didn't even know existed was in your about section, rather than typing out all of your Instagram and your Facebook and your Twitter and your Snapchat, there's a spot that you can go to add the actual web address for that link. And what it does is up in your main banner, it'll put the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram icon up in there all on its own. It's color, it's easy to read, and it's clickable. So if somebody comes onto your YouTube page and subscribes, well, they can go over just with a click of a button and add you on those 2 or 3 or 4 other venues of social media that may be attached to your channel. So I'd encourage you, if you don't have your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever other social medias that you use on your channel assigned to your YouTube, go do that, and it'll definitely be an advantage. I did that this week. So basically, any of these new subscribers that are coming in that don't know who I am, except for what they may have saw on Nick's Garage, now they know that I'm connected on 3 other platforms of social media. So it's a good way to build not just your YouTube channel, but your other footprints there that you're covering.
Yeah, that's a good pointer. I'll have to double check. I don't remember if I've done that or not. I feel like I have, but I don't know that. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in the make that about page worth it, because sometimes what I will often do, like say I get a new subscriber, like anybody who subscribes to me, I always go to their channel, see what they're about at the very least. And if I see videos that I like, then I almost always go to the about page to kind of figure out, well, what are you trying to do? It might not be just a one-off instance. I want to make sure I could get on board with everything you want to do. So that's huge for me. But my second, and I'll make this one shorter, because I think it's relevant to this week. My second piece of advice for a small time YouTuber is making a sports analogy, which is if anybody out there has ever done any sort of distance running. I'm not a marathon runner, but I run like 5Ks, sometimes 10Ks. I want to relate YouTube to distance running and remind yourself everything is it's literally at your pace. If you're going to try to keep up with the marathon runner and they're running the 5 minute miles when you're really a 8 or 9 minute mile runner like myself, you're only going to last like a mile best, and then you're going to be exhausted and you can't keep up. Everybody's at their own pace. I mean, Jason just had a tremendous week, which is different than mine. And even through this whole 9 week thing we've done, we've always been at different rates, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I just want to remind people sometimes it's easy to get, feel like, hey, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. It's your pace, man.
Yeah, and that's a really good analogy because like, you'll grow as fast as you want. I wanted to grow fast, and like Grant said, I put the effort into taking a weekend, 3 days driving, 1,000 miles round trip to get these heads. I could have had the chip for $150, and I could have saved a lot of time, but I certainly wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't made that effort. And I do plan on making a trip, and I've talked to Sean Novotaz and Hammer Down, some of these guys that I'm planning a trip to Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of big YouTube guys in Pennsylvania. Send it Steve, who is one of my big inspirations for wanting to even start YouTube. I've been following him since he was like 3,000 subscribers. He's up to like 53 or 4K now, and so I want to get down there and spend a week and meet up with some of these guys and do some collabs and do a whole lot of that sort of thing. And for me, that's an even longer drive than what Montreal was. We're talking 11 hours to get to Harrisburg. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to take the time off work. I'm willing to make a small vacation out of it and put myself out there once again. And Grant, you're absolutely right. Pacing is key. I know that I'm not going to grow my channel to 2,000 subscribers overnight either. But if I keep putting myself out there, I'm going to keep growing. So it's all in how hungry you are, I guess, and how bad you really want it. Kip says, "Stop by Vermont and pick me up for that road trip." But maybe we'll do that if I can fit you in the back seat. My wife might have something to say about that. But anyways.
Yeah, and I just realized something that I'm gonna tease Kip a little bit here because I think his handwriting led me to believe that he was in Utah, UT, instead of VT, Vermont. I believe. Thank goodness for zip codes, because I do believe I put UT in, because he made a comment one time on our Instagram battle graphic. He's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta go East Coast," and I'm like, "East Coast? Like what?" Like I had in my head he lived in Utah. So anyway, but as well.
Yeah,
So
so guys, we are up to 29 watching the stream right now. We've only got 23 likes. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that now. That's a great benefit to Grant and his channel. Also, if you guys are helping each other out in the live stream as far as subscribing to each other's channel, just be aware that YouTube pays attention to the words that you're typing out in the chat. So when you say sub, that I've subbed you, that can be considered spam and against YouTube's community bullcrap that they have. So you want to be careful when you're doing that. If you're helping somebody out and you're going to subscribe to their channel, give them a thumbs up by typing their name there as well or something. And just try not to use some of those noted words like "I got you" or "I've subbed you" or whatever. So just keep that in mind. And make sure that when you're subscribing to those guys' channel, you're not just subscribing and walking away. Watch their videos too and comment. Make sure that they know that you've been there.
And now I'm in the dilemma of bite on that as a good segue transition, or pay attention to the chat. And so I'm going to pay attention to the chat, and then we're going to come back to your sub for sub comment there, Jason. But I wanted to first off, client graphics thinks we may have actually gone over 30 at one time, and so I don't know, could take his words, but I wanted to kind of point out SNR Motoring made a comment. If anybody wants to do a 6 a.m. collab, they are for it. So I just wanted to, that is awesome. But no, to go back to Jason's sub for sub, like just be careful how you go about doing that. That kind of folds nicely into, of course, we all know Jason hit over 1,000 subs, but for myself, I was at went up to 932 subscribers at one point over the past week, pretty early on, like maybe by Saturday or something. But it was actually, I think it was after I posted the Instagram graphic on Sunday night, which is what I was trying to routinely do. Then I immediately the next day went down like 3. So YouTube, like Jason said, watches for that stuff and knows when there's an empty subscriber. So I'm actually at 934 when we started today, up so that's 13 up from 921 last week. So yes, there's that. And Jason, what kind of damage did you actually do from last week to this week?
Well, from the time that our I just saw 30. I see 30 down there. I'm seeing 30 on my screen, just so you know. So yeah, as of last week's live stream, we ended that by me reporting that I had 849 subscribers, and as of right now, I'm at 1,008. So my math tells me that's 159 subscribers gained since last week. And again, I'm not, everybody knows that is mostly probably 100% in part to Nick's Garage shout out on that on his channel there on Monday. So,
well, in Winnipeg, Car Life tells me he would subscribe again a second time if he could. So I appreciate that. But I did want to say, like, this is what's also been interesting since Jason and I have been doing this, for so long, week after week, and have been closely monitoring each other's. Like, we've constantly sent back messages when, like, we see one thing on our end, but he sees something different on our end. My live stream says 16 people are watching this right now. So YouTube definitely has weird things that go on, from different people's point of view. I'm just guessing that's probably just maybe if I reloaded it, it would probably say 30. But anyway, if some of you are just now jumping in like Craving Cars for the first time in the chat here tonight, rest assured, usually we only go 30 minutes. But first off, welcome to the CarrGuy SixFan show if you've never been. If you've come in here halfway through or more. Tonight, we are going 45 minutes as a celebration for Jason hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. So, but he mentioned he loves when we do the shout out segment. So he is here just in time for the shout out segment. And so with that, my weekly shout out, one of the persons, which ironically, I don't think I see him in here tonight, but I wanted to give a shout out to Classic Ride Society, because he seems like he's been one of the regulars week after week here in the live stream. And I just wanted to say, I think he has a really cool, there's plenty of people out there who go to the junkyard, bring the camera with you and show stuff. But I just feel like his spin on it, or the things he points out, usually he's, highlighting, as his name implies, classic rides. I just think he does a really good job wherever the yards he goes to, finding some really cool stuff that's like right in my wheelhouse of kind of the, up to about 1985 or so, cars 85 and older. So, hey, there's Classic Ride. Good. So anyway, if you haven't checked out his channel, go check out his channel. Jason, who you got this week?
Well, the last couple of weeks we've had a guest in here, and his channel name is called Mr. Mach 1. So I started reaching out to some of his channel or some of his videos and watching to see what we had here as well. And Tom McLaughlin just jumped into the chat. Tom is a local boy. He's in St. John, about 45 minutes or an hour away from me. Subscribe to me today from Nick's Garage. He was watching Nick's Garage, saw that, knew that I was from New Brunswick somewhere, and we've been chatting a little bit back and forth today. Welcome, Tom. Thanks for joining the live stream. And so Mr. Mach 1's channel, I wanted to give him a shout out today because of some of the project cars that he is working on. If you don't follow him, then you've got to know that he has a 91 Miata project that he's working on. Grant, he's got a 1980 Fairmont, as well as a 1970 Mustang Mach 1. So got a couple of different things he's going on over there. So if you haven't had a chance to go over and check out Mr. Mach 1, head over there right now and subscribe to his channel and watch some of his videos. Make sure you're commenting and show him all the love and tell him that Olde Carr Auto Guy and Straight Six Fans sent you.
Yeah, and Gary's been one of my longtime followers, definitely my first 100, if not my first 50. He was one of the ones I got to know very quickly out of the gate here now 4 years ago through Greg's Garage. And so, yeah, he is a great guy. Love the energy, positive thinking. And yeah, he's actually now showing up on some I'm finding him now more on Fox Body forums and things like that. But again, since we're in an extended format tonight, this is cheating a little bit. But I did want to give a secondary shout out because Monkey Fab Garage sent me some swag for free over the past month, and that's the first time that's ever happened. So I barely, it kind of snuck up on the screen, but I just think really, I love his logo. It's always cracked me up with the TIG torch and a wrench, and of course the monkey. But he's another great channel out there. He's got a LS swapped Pontiac Phoenix. So if you haven't, he was my last Know Your Neighbors interview. So if you want to go through my Know Your Neighbors playlist, I did a full sit down interview live stream like this. But guys, since we are now over the 30-minute mark, this is usually when we would have closed it down by now, but we also love opening up the chat to questions for us or any topic you want to talk about. So we should have probably lobbed that out there a little sooner so you could have thought about it. But Jason, has there been anything that you've thought of since I've been blabbing on for like 3 minutes straight here?
No, I've been just keeping an eye on the chat here and just seeing what's been popping up, and everybody seems to be talking back and forth pretty good with each other. So yeah, I mean, as of right now, we are ding ding ding. We are into overtime, guys. Let's keep the chat going. If you have anything you want us to answer, you want an opinion, you want us to BS you, either way, let us know. We'll do our best to try and fool you. I mean, tell you what we feel. So.
Well, we could even assign them homework too, because Jason and I have talked about. Now we probably won't do this next week because special news bulletin. I will not be able to sit in the co-host chair next week because of a work commitment. So I did want to throw that out there. We will have a special co-host, and I don't know if that's something we're keeping under wraps or not. I'll let Jason cover that. But did want to say we've talked about doing a kind of this one's for the fans kind of special episode where you guys would just give us feedback. What do you like about the show? What don't you like about the show? And then we can start to maybe curtail this in a little different format, tweak it a little bit. I know there's obviously some things we probably do well, and there's probably some things we don't do well. So anyway, wanted to throw out there, but I think Rust Belt Mechanic had a question for us, Jason.
Yeah, he's asked what, I'll get adjusted here. Favorite daily driver cars. Well, I wouldn't call it favorite, but if you've been watching my channel, you know that my daily driver is a 2009 Kia Sportage that's been lifted with 31-inch tires, and it's a rust bucket. I wouldn't call that my favorite daily driver, but I see somebody down there asking me if Bubbles is going to get nitrous. No, Bubbles is not going to get nitrous. He's going to get something, and it's going to be coming up in a video probably sometime in April, and it's going to be a video series that you're not going to want to miss. But if I have to say my favorite daily driver, I guess it really becomes a time of year. So when the summertime, when the good weather hits, I do drive my 79 Chrysler Cordoba almost daily. And as we're getting ready to put some higher flow heads on there and some headers, new intake and new carb, it's going to be an even funner drive. excuse me, more fun, not funner, drive this summer. So that's my favorite daily driver. And I think if I had to go with a modern muscle car, it would definitely have to be something along the Charger Challenger line.
So get ready, put your waders on, because Mr. Mach 1 tells us there's nothing not to like. It's always been a great stream. So I know that can't be true, but
I can smell it
now
from here. No,
I was going through as you were talking, Jason, I made a quick list of trying to just figure out how many different vehicles have I, because I'm only 33, so how many different vehicles have I actually had? And I kind of was surprised. I've actually had 7 vehicles now. The first one doesn't count. It was my parents' 1984 Ford Ranger Perkins diesel, which is the how did it go? The quarter mile was faster than the 0 to 60 time. So that truck though, still, that was the first. That's what I learned stick shift on. I still have a soft spot in my heart for that truck. But so then if you go out of the 6 that have actually been my vehicles, I actually think like my Jeep Liberty diesel was probably one that every time I got in the driver's seat, like I just felt different. I felt like there was just something really cool about that vehicle. Now, it wasn't super reliable and it was a money pit. But I think that one was one that when I got in, I just loved that feeling more than anything else. But from a dependability standpoint, I had a 2004 Mazda 3 right out of college, and that was a really, really, really good car. It never let me down. So
if we go back into the questions, Captain Ron was asked the second question saying, what is the coolest thing or experience that you've had since starting your YouTube channel? Grant, why don't you go ahead and head that one off maybe first?
okay, man. I mean, last week I felt like, okay, so hopefully I don't go way off into left field on this one. Wait, left's that way. I'm reading so it's Lent right now, and one of the things that I've picked up for kind of to up my game is I've been reading this sort of self-help book by author Matthew Kelly, and there was this little line in there that was talking about it was just called "Take the Training Wheels Off." Like, we all remember when we were learning to ride a bike and how some things, like whether you thought you were ready or not, like there was still that fear, maybe I'm not. And I just thought that was a real good little anecdote of like, maybe if you're afraid of something, and that timed out really well with my interview with Chad Ehrlich of Nobody's Show, Nobody's Auto, which, by the way, if you guys haven't checked out Nobody's Show here on YouTube, please go do that and tell him Straight Six Fan and Olde Carr Auto Guy sent him. Because if you like Classic Ride Society's channel, you would love that channel. So I think that was a pretty cool experience for me. It helped me grow, I think, as a person as well as a YouTuber, Jason. But I think I might know what your coolest experience might be so far, but go ahead and shock the world.
Well, yeah, as much as I think all of you are going to think that I'm going to say that my experience and visit to Nick's garage was the highlight of my YouTube channel. Highlight, yes, it probably was, but probably my biggest experience with YouTube, I truly believe has to be this live stream right here, because without this live stream, we wouldn't have been able to get in here and meet some of these great YouTubers who are a part of the show and bring it to a personal level and just bring these guys from around the world, literally, into one spot and one stream. So, the guys that I had contact with, like I said, my first experience with any other YouTuber out there was Steve Freeman. And he was he was a car dealer in Harrisburg, PA. And I reached out to him on Facebook, and look, we've been chatting ever since. And here I am sitting with 1,000 subscribers and him with 50 whatever thousand. So being able to reach out to some of these bigger guys some of these other guys who are now big, we're all going to get there someday. Some of us are going to get there sooner than others, but the experience of being able to reach out and be able to come into contact with the Nick's Garage, the Send It Steves, the Rust Belt Mechanics, the Snydertron 3000 guys who have no problem becoming a part of what we're doing and showing up right here with us. So Yeah, Nick's Garage was excellent and great, and I would chalk that right up there with my 2009 trip to Disney. Honestly, for a car guy, that's really what it was for me.
Well, we're coming up on 5 minutes left, and there were two questions that came up. So we'll probably kind of close up the question thing because I think they were both really good questions that were asked. So we won't be able to get to probably more than two. But I did want to say, I did kind of want to echo what Jason said. Like, and this again is the strength in numbers thing. I probably would have put self limitations on, thinking people like Rust Belt Mechanic would never show up in this live chat, but because of the way Jason approaches things, people like Rust Belt Mechanic and Send It Steve show up here all the time. Hammer Down Motorsports, people like that. So just kind of remember, like, sometimes self limitations can do exactly that. Get out of your own way. But Novitaz asked, what car gave you the car guy bug? And I'll just try to be real brief with that. It actually wasn't a car for me. I think it was just like a time of life. A bunch of things kind of came together. I always say it was Home Improvement, the show, and it was Family Matters, and I think it was my older brother being 2 years ahead of me. He was getting closer to driving age, and so both of those TV shows had this idea of restoring an old car that it just looked like fun. It's like, okay, well, you can get into something cheap and make it your own, and that just is kind of how it grew. And we built model cars, things like that. So it was kind of like this evolution of getting into adolescence and wanting that.
Yeah, and I'm right along the same lines with that too, because, well, for starters, when your last name is Carr, you're doomed. Honestly, my dad was a car guy, and I was destined to be a car guy. And what really kind of brought me into it was when I was probably I don't know, 13 years old. We first got cable, and with that cable came a channel called, I think it was TNN, the Nashville network, and Shade Tree Mechanic was one of those first real car shows, how to do it yourself type car shows, at 13 years old, that really kind of sucked me in. And having those two guys on that show, and that led to different shows, and then you got your overhauling and those, Jay Leno's Garage and all this stuff today, that it just continues to grow. I'm 43 years old, so I've got 10 years on you, Grant, but it never stops. It keeps growing within you, is to say everything that you do, eat, sleep, and breathe by time, um, seems to be car related in some fashion. My last name is Carr. I'm a car guy. I sell used cars. I'm a hobby car guy. So everything that we do just kind of revolves around that. And but if I have to go back right quick before we end this to pinpoint what car actually gave me the car bug, when we first moved to where we are now, my dad had a '62 Chevy Impala two-door hardtop. That car did it for me.
That's a great one to do it. Jason, we have one more question left, and I probably will not address it just in the sake of time. It is we are down to 2 minutes left, so I will lob the question your way, and then I will let you close this thing out. So the question came from Craving Cars, and it was somewhere along the lines of, if you could buy any brand new car, what would it be? And assuming cost is not an issue, and like insuring it, all that stuff, like just take all the chains off. What's the new car you'd go with?
See, for the quick answer is a Kia Stinger, and some people are going to laugh at that, but for me, it's bang for buck. I'm a thrifty spender when it comes to things like that, and when I want to go out and I want to look at something that's going to that you can have fun with, I have no problem looking. And again, I'm an odd body guy. I look at the odd cars, so I have no problem going out and looking at things like the Kia Stinger. Um, yeah, I could have said Camaro. I could have said Mustang. I could have said Challenger. I could have said full size Ram truck. I could have said Aston Martin, Lamborghini, whatever. Bang for buck, I can go out and buy myself a brand new Kia Stinger GT with the twin turbo V6 and have just as much fun as all those hot rod guys with their big $100,000 and $200,000 cars for about 70 grand. So that's my answer. And as we move into this, closing up this episode, this big celebratory 1,000 subscriber celebration for myself. Guys, I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up to next week's live show. It's obviously going to be on my channel, and where Grant's not going to be available, Rust Belt Mechanic has agreed to step in as co-host, so you're not going to want to miss it. We likely will do another 45-minute show next week, and so make sure that you tell all your friends, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to try and stick as close to the guidelines that we normally follow, and I'm going to get him to share his side of things with us as well. And I know that everyone, and including him, is looking forward to that. So you've made it when Rust Belt Mechanic is in the house co-hosting your show with you. So guys, as you know, we close down every episode by the opposite of the host shutting down this episode. And you know that I end every episode by saying, stay focused on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. Guys, I love you all. Thank you for everything. God bless. We'll see you next week.